told y'all, for those that want to harm the children, I got the key to that lock, friends. In fact, that's my lock. You so near want to harm the children and I get my hands on you, you're going to go down in that hole, friends. It says no trash disposal. Because this ain't for trash, friends. But please take your trash with you. Come on, Gaskin, let's move. Look at this tree, we got to... The Grizzly trucks had the transmission. I had to get some parts redone in it. And then the starter went out like 4 months ago, friends. Okay, hold on now. Anyways, friends, we're at the cemetery. I gotta get to work, but it's looking really nice. It's looking really nice. All right, friends, I'll be back on later today. Because I told you, friends, I got a story. We had. Because I didn't get no sleep last night. I told you, y'all perverted people. Y'all just don't want to heed the warning. You just want to keep harming the children. Well, friends, let me tell you, that population, that LGBT, that perverted demon population that want to have the relations with our children, friends, that's what it's all about. Well, friends, that population is being reduced. One perverted person at a time, friends. That's right, friends, that's the chick. Oh, friends, I told you, y'all are going to be lining up around the cemetery, and they were last night, friends. But they weren't coming around the front, friends. We had them lining up around the hole in the fence, so y'all didn't even see it, friends. Friends, we got rid of about 50 of these demons last night, friends. Friends, they were so ashamed that they got caught. And then they realized what they had done was so evil, friends. They voluntarily just dove headfirst in there. It's sad, because I was praying on them. But friends, I think the Lord turned their back on them because they repudiated God. So all I could do was just open the door and just... say, see you later, friend. And I just kicked him in the butt with my boot, friends, and they all went down. Friends, I'm so tired. Friends, that was 50 perverted demons. I literally had a kick in the butt to get down the hole. And a couple friends, a few, like I told you, they just jumped in it. But I said, no, you gotta do one at a time. We do not want it to get clogged up. And I do not want to be messing around on a Friday night at the Bellevue Cemetery, friends. Because I told you, Mr. Thompson, he gets out there early. Friends, that man's out there like 6 in the morning cutting the grass. And I did not want a bunch of perverted people out there waiting in line to jump down his hole. So we just got it all done. Those friends, I told you, I'm a disciplined instructor, friends. Friends, there was a few perverted ladies in there. Friends, there was a few transgender folks, but they all went down the hole and it all worked out nicely, friends, just like the Lord commanded you to. So look, friends, without further ado, I gotta get to work. So y'all stay groovy and I'll check on you a little later on. GRIZZLY 6 out. Friends, I might just have like an hour left. So that means I gotta get out here and get the weed whacking done. All right, look, Rogo, I love you, brother, and I'll talk to you later on. Hold on, friends, I think I see somebody. Friends, I'm not gonna lie. Friends, I don't believe in ghosts. But friends, my mind's been playing little tricks on me out here. Friends, I'm mowing, and I think I see someone walking, and I look up and there ain't nobody there, friends. Friends, like when you see someone walking, like when you're at your house and you see someone walking down your street, in the corner of your eye, friends, that happens to me like all the time out here, but there ain't nobody out here, friends. Unless you perverted ghost adventures. Friends, for the last time, please, I'm begging you. Friends, I'm still begging you. Don't you dare let me catch you doing any more ghost adventures out here. I just did discover, friends, it's a grave, and they never put the person in it, friends. Or maybe they took the body, like maybe it was a veteran and he went to a national cemetery. Friends, there's an empty grave over here. And And friends, I could slip you right in the crack and they'll never find you, friends. And I'll just not mow that area for a few weeks and then the grass will just grow right over you. And nobody will ever know. Nobody will ever know but me. And Jesus. Some of y'all in a lot of hot water. That's right, friends. I caught some folks out here this morning in the cemetery. Friends, they were up to no good, friends. Friends, I caught some ghost adventures out here. And friends, I looked at my manifest for all the folks that came on the Sergeant Grizzle Grits work party over the last week. And friends, their name wasn't on the manifest, friends. Look, friends, you can't come out into my cemetery and look for some silly ghosts. If you haven't been to one of my work parties, I'm sorry, friends. They scurried on out of here as soon as they saw the Grizzly army rolling in. Friends, it really makes me frustrated. Because the one feller, well, he was an older guy. He claimed to be a soldier. He should know better. Alright, friends, I told you. We're going around. Look at the cemetery. Ain't it looking swell? Friends, we got all the weed whacking done. We got all the mowing done. Friends, I even took all the trash down to the dump, friends. And it took me 2 trips. I only got 1 more trip on my tax. Oh, Lord Jesus, help us. Look, friends, we're going around, we're scooping up all the debris, friends. All the debris, and I gotta take it all the way to the southern Hillsborough County and dump over there tomorrow, friends. I mean, friends, come on now. Friends, the rumors are all true. I mean, friends, I gotta be, because there ain't no men out here. And the folks I met today, friends, they wouldn't even wave back at me. I told you, friends, there ain't no such things as the ghost, friends. You're messing with evil. You're messing with the unholy, friends. The unclean spirits. Friends, I'm talking to this guy this morning. And he has his little box going off, friends. Friends, I can't kid around with you. And I asked him, I said, buddy, what is that, a spirit box? And he goes, yeah, it is. I said, well, what is it, saying anything about your buddy, certain Grizzle Grits? Friends, the demons are screaming. Because friend, hold on, friends. We got some work to do, friends. I got to get all this debris up. Friends, I only got like another minute and 10 seconds. Pack that, friends. I told you, I ain't like it. Friends, your sergeant ain't got long. That's why I got to do all this good. I was around the open burn pits over in Afghanistan, friends, and even in Kuwait, friends, it was so horrible what they the horrible government put us through. But look, friends, I told this guy, I said, come on now, you know better than me messing with spirits. I said, Granny ain't out here, Granny's with Jesus. And if you're talking to someone that says they're Granny, that ain't Granny, that's some kind of demon. And my friends, before I could put them to work, they just scurried on out of here. I told you, friends. I ain't got no time for no girly men. Y'all just go back and do your little ghost adventures somewhere else. But that's it, friends. Ain't no more ghost adventures unless you're out here. You gotta come out here and work with certain Grizzle Grits. And then maybe I'll give you a pass to come do a ghost adventure. I don't know, friends. That's of the devil. We don't mess around with the devil, friends. Ugh. So get your butt over there. TheGrizzlyArmy.com, friends. I better not catch y'all out here doing ghost adventures at my cemetery, friends. It won't work out good for you. You better just keep that demon stuff. You just better get on out of here with that. Come on, Corporal Stevens, give me a hand. Begin today. Look, I'm gonna start off today over here. We gotta do this section, and I'm gonna start with my police call. Yeah. Hold on, I gotta go check on something real quick. Friends, I'm not supposed to tell you these things, but I did get a phone call late in the evening. Friends, I'm talking like friends, it was like 2:30, almost 3 o'clock in the morning. I got a phone call, friends. And friends, there's another man that has a key to that lock over there. I know y'all don't believe me. Let's just look at the look. Friends, I'm not the only man that's got a key to the shack. And there's the shack, friends. Oh, buddy. But friends, like I'm trying to warn y'all for the last time. If I catch you harming the children, you're gonna go in that shack. Friends, come here. There's the shack, friends. No trash. We don't want no trash out here. Friends, the other man that has the key to that... Friends, this is my lock, by the way. Well, he misplaced his key. So, friends, I had to come out here in the early hours of the morning and let him in there. And, friends, he had somebody else with him. I don't want to ask no questions, but the man was perverted, and apparently he had harmed the child. Hold on, friends. Let's see if we can hear him. friends, it's bottomless. You go down there, you don't ever come out. All right, look, friends, no more goofing off. Oh, yeah. So here we are, right here today. Listen, it's right. Look, for the last time, I'm not gonna harm anybody. I'm not gonna harm myself. Don't you dare have the sheriff come knock on my door, because I'm doing a skit about people harming children, and I want to throw you down there in a hole. Friends, there ain't no hole in there. That's where, believe it or not, friends, there's a hole in there. Friends, that's where the well is. Friends, that building, there's a well inside there, because they used to water this place, so it's a part of the skit. I had a good friend last night. He was very concerned. He's like, oh my goodness, you're threatening people. They're gonna haul you away. And I'm like, well, let them do it. I don't even care anymore, because I ain't threatening nobody. But again, friends, there was a time. There was a time when my father was a young father. If he had caught one of y'all harming me or my brother, you would have gone down in a place like that, friends. Where do you think I learned these things from? So, friends, I got some work to do. Like I told you, I got a little... I got a big plot here, one over there. I got some brush that needs to be taken out. Hey, Rogo, look, it's a shed. Rogo, I can't tell you how many perverted people that have harmed children have gone down to that hole. They've been using that for 100 years. And over the last 96 years, they've only had to put a handful of perverted people down there. But I told you, the world got real nasty when Obama got in office. Okay, here we are. All right, look, friends, I'm going to do like another hour out here, but I'll just stay along with it. Just having a little fun. That's Mr. Joshua, friends. If he had showed up here today, friends, I'd still be out there spraying. And friends, I'd only had enough to probably do half the cemetery. And he got the blue spray, friends. You don't mess around with that blue spray. So, friends, we got a partnership. I told him, you keep your route. But I'm going to come out here on the off weeks. That way it don't get too bad. That way it gets mowed, friends. It's going to get mowed once a week in the summertime. And then we'll readjust in the winter. But check it out, ma'am. We're going to do, we got a 501c3. And we already applied, and we should have we should have it ready here in I don't know, about another month or so. So once we have that, we're going to be able to take everyone's well overdue and most righteous financial contributions, friends. And we're going to have a general purpose fund for cemetery cleanup. And friends, if we start getting some, like, friends, these families, please. Holy smokes, friends. Friends, have I seen a ghost? Oh my gosh, friends. Look, friends, I'm gonna go back and watch all my videos. You know the rules. I critique myself, friends. I'm my biggest fan and my worst critic, friends. I just love what we're doing. Friends, literally, I don't really watch YouTube like I used to. Not all the other stuff. I mean, there's a few friends on there that I really like. That Second's a horror guy. Y'all gotta check him out. He's a conspiracy guy just like me, but friends, it ain't a conspiracy if it's true. It's called truth. And a lot of y'all just want to live in denial, friends. You just want to drink your booze and go watch your Mike Evans drop the passes in the end zone, friends. I mean, the man's human. He ain't a superhero like your humble Sergeant Major, friends. But I'm not either. I'm being goofy. Friends, I'm just a normal guy just like the rest. I don't know. Some of y'all are really girly and perverted. Y'all are really getting me down, friends. Y'all gotta stop that. Friends, I like to be upbeat and happy when y'all are doing that perverted stuff and I find out about it, friends. It makes me gloomy. Because I gotta stop what I'm doing. I gotta go down to the cemetery and I gotta open that shack, friends. Friends, you don't believe me, do you? Hold on, which key is it now? Which key? Okay, trailer. Oh, the shack. Friends, there is a shack over at the Bellevue Cemetery. Mr. Thompson gave me a key. Friends, I'm rarely ever out there. But he told me just in case I get backed up or something happens to the hole in SEFFNER, friends. Friends, the hole that we got in SEFFNER, the shack, is very efficient. We've never had any problems, friends. When you go in, there's no problems, friends. But he said if there's ever an issue, come over to Bellevue. He'll get me squared away. So, friends, that's the Bellevue Cemetery's little shack. Friends, it's way in the back. You'll never find it, friends. It's out in the woods. Oh, that's the key to the fire base. Friends, that's the key to the trailer. That's the key to the John Deere. Okay, friends, here it is. Friends, that's the key to the shack. And all I gotta do is take that little lock. And I just gotta jiggle it, friends. It's a new lock. I told you it's my lock. I'll just open it up. And that lock will go. And I'll undo that lock. And I'll tell you, you wait right there. You're about to go meet your maker. I mean, you're about to go meet your devil. Your maker's Jesus. You're about to go meet the person you've been serving, Satan. I'm gonna open that lock, friends. And I'm gonna open that door. And I'm gonna push you in. And I'm gonna give you a good old righteous kick in the butt with my boot, friends. My boot's going right in your butt. You're going down that hole. And I'm gonna slam that door shut, friends. I told you I can't even look in there, friends. It's like the perverted closet. Those perversions were never supposed to come out of the closet, friends. And they're back in the closet. And we ain't ever gonna let y'all come out of that closet ever again. If I have anything to do with it, friends. Alright, look, friends, that's enough of that. I'll talk to y'all later on. Friends, check it out. You know, there's something spiritual about cemeteries, and I'm not talking about the silly ghost adventures. And friends, if I absolutely ever get y'all out here again, bringing the demons out here, stirring up some trouble in my family cemetery, I mean, friends, I'm stinking begging you. I better not see no more stinking ghost adventures out here. It ain't gonna work out good for you. Because I already did. I found another hole over there. And it's strictly for the ones that want to mess around with the demons. Everybody, y'all know about the shack. Now, that's strictly for those that want to harm the children. Now, if you want to harm the children, friends, I'm talking about if you're pushing that LGBT on our children. If you're allowing your children to watch the Disney and do all that other perverted stuff. Or if you're actively harming the child, friends, you're going down that hole, friends. Friends, when I was a child, Aunt Connie knows this. We all wanted to know what the heck was in that shack. But the Lord has revealed to me the only way you're gonna find out what's in that shack is if you're harming the children. I told you, friends, I've taken a firm stand on the child abuse and the perversions of the children. It never set good with me. And there's a reason, friends. I had to fight that evil at the Bay Pines VA, friends. That's right, y'all knew. That horrible lady, Chris Brown, my old boss, the director. She covered up sex crimes, friends. And that is not a joke, friends. A volunteer showed pornography to 2 of my summer students. A 14-year-old and a 15-year-old black boys. And their father was a friend of mine. It makes me so sick, friends. The man confessed to everything. I had him in my office, in my boss's office. And he said it was just guy talk. Oh, just a little guy talk. Let me explain something to you, friends. If I find out you're having that type of talk with children, you're gonna go right down in that hole, friends. Friends, I've only gotten a glimpse of that hole. I know y'all don't believe me. Let's just go check it out before Mom and John get here. I don't want to make Mom upset. But look, everybody, look what we're doing. This is what we discovered. Friends, this is an archaeology dig. Friends, this graveyard had a concrete border around it, friends. Look, I'm going to show you. It goes to like right over to here. And then it goes to link that way, friends. Friends, this cemetery was not that big, but then over the years, it just got bigger and bigger. But friends, the hole. Friends, that hole's been here from the beginning of time, from my understanding. Look, friends, you don't believe me. Aunt Connie, the Lord told me what's behind this door. Oh, I gotta go. My family's here. All right, look, everybody. Y'all stay groovy, and I'll talk to you in a little while. Mom's out here. We're gonna show her all the work we've been doing. Thank you now. See, friends, it's just best to take it easy. You can be nice to anybody, friends. All right, friends, I gotta get to work. But there were some gentlemen looking at the weed whacker, and they were like me, friends. They were trying to figure out the best deal and the best bargain. And I'm not gonna get in their way, friends, so we'll just have to come back. Because I really don't want to do that today, friends. I told you, look. We're gonna get this mess cleaned up, friends. Now, friends, if I catch any of y'all, I mean any of y'all, harming the children, friends. If I find out any of y'all have been harming the children at Lowe's, what's gonna happen here is some righteous folks. All right, now y'all stay groovy. I gotta get on down here. Oh my goodness. All right, Corporal Stevens, call up Thunder Main. Tell them we're done for the day. Friends, I was going to drive by the Mango Cemetery. But I'm going to save that one for a little later, friends. I need to go home. I need to go home and get in the shower, friends. And get in the pool at least, friends. It is so stinky hot. All right, friends. Wow, this place is looking real nice, everybody. Real nice. We've done a lot of good work. I appreciate all y'all's help. I couldn't have done it without y'all. Yeah, definitely couldn't have done it without y'all. All right, friends, there it is. I told you about the shack. Y'all just don't want to heed the warnings, do you? Y'all just want to keep being perverted and doing all sorts of naughty, friends. Friends, I told you what's behind that door. Friends, I've never seen inside that door, friends. It's nothing but darkness. But friends, if you so choose, friends, if you so choose, if you want to harm the children, friends, look at me very carefully. Friends, look at me very, 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 very carefully, friends. Friends, I'm begging you. Friends, I'm begging you. Y'all gotta stop harming the children, friends. I'm talking about the LGBT. I'm talking about all that nasty pornography stuff, friends. Friends, don't you dare let me catch you. Don't you dare let me catch you, friends. You're gonna go in that door, friends, and that door goes right down the bottom of the pit of hell, friends. Oh my gosh, friends, I know you're thinking, don't believe me. Corporal Stevens, where's the key? Where's the keys? Come on, friends, let's go. Friends, I just know. I gotta dumb it down for y'all. There's the shack, friends. If you're harming the children, you're gonna go down that shack, friends. Look, friends, the last time, this ain't a garbage hole. And friends, they used to have those back in the day. That's right, friends. Friends, that's right. Friends, I got the key here somewhere, but we got some nasty wasps over there, friends. I do not want to get stung. Holy smokes. I told you, friends, I got the wasp. They're guarding my shack, friends. Holy smokes! All right, friends, look, no more goofing around. I do not want to get hurt. I got my grizzly wasp over there, friends. That thing's, friends, all right, Corporal Stevens, we need some bug spray next time we come out here. Friends, don't you dare test me. I told you I don't want to mess around with that hole because I don't want to get stung. And I don't want you to have to go down there, friends. I'm begging you for the last time. Y'all gotta stop doing that perverted stuff. Look, we're gonna be back later on, friends. I don't know, we may head down to Mingo. Or we might just hang around the house, friends. I don't know. But anyways, y'all better stop all that perverted stuff. Y'all better start learning to get righteous, friends. Friends, don't you dare. Friends, I'm begging you, please, friends. Friends, I'm begging you, friends. Friends, don't you dare let me catch you not trying to get righteous, friends. You better be learning about my buddy Jesus, friends. Friends, who's this? Who's this handsome man sitting over here? This Mediterranean man with the green eyes and the nice crispy long hair, friends, down to the shoulder length. Jesus, them whiskers. Y'all better stop doing that perverted stuff. You're giving my NCO a lot of gray whiskers, and that don't sit good with me, friends. I don't know, friends. I think I can get that. Maybe we can widen that door and just make it a revolving door. That way it just goes. We'll be a little more efficient, friends. And I told you, y'all just don't want to stop being perverted. But look, friends, every night that perverted LGBT, every night, friends, that population is dwindling down. Friends, I don't care if it takes me 10 years. We're gonna put all y'all down that hole. That's a promise. Y'all stay groovy, and I'll talk to y'all later. Grizzle 6 out. Nothing but darkness.
Please hold. Your call will be answered when the line is available.
Thank you for contacting the GRIZZLY Self-Report Child Registry Hotline. If you have harmed a child, press 1 now. If you know someone who has harmed a child, press 2 now. Otherwise, please hang up this phone call. Thank you for pressing 1. You have harmed a child. Is that correct? Press 1 for yes. If you would like the most convenient time to report to the SEFFNER Cemetery hole, press 1. If you would like to arrange a more convenient time, press 2 now. You have selected 1. Please report to the hole at 2100 hours this evening, August the 20th, 2025. Press 1 to confirm your appointment. Thank you for using the GRIZZLY services. Goodbye.
Friends, I told you, I'm learning patience, and the Lord never disappoints, friends. But it's on His time, so let's sneak in time. It ain't on Sergeant Grizzlegrit's time. Because if it was on my time, y'all would have been gone a long time ago. We would have been enjoying the fruits of our labor of defeating all the perversions and getting all y'all down that nice hole, friends. Well, friends, listen, if y'all are reporting, friends, I told you, I got a self-reporting website, friends. Friends, if you've been flagged, in fact, friends, if you know you're harming the children, you already know it, friends. And friends, I got a website. These folks they're already registering on my registry website, friends. And it has a date and time for them to report over at the hole in SEFFNER, friends. Friends, I told you I'm trying to do this as efficiently and with as much empathy as I can. I mean, folks, these people harm children. And they're already self-reporting. They're turning themselves in, friends. Now, friends, you can't do it anonymously. We gotta know who you are, because you gotta go down the hole. But friends, they are. I had like 100 people signed up last night. But I can't be out there all night, everybody. I do have to get some sleep. So look, y'all just hang around. If y'all are gonna be out in the cemetery today, waiting for your turn to go down the hole straight to hell, friends. That's what the hole's all about. For those that want to harm the children, and they don't want to get righteous, friends. I need y'all to do a nice police call out there. I don't know. I'll talk to Gabriel, but I don't think it's gonna help your sentence. I think you still gotta go down the hole. But look, if y'all gonna report out there early, I'll be out there about noon. I gotta go mow the Bellevue. And I don't need no help, because y'all, I can't help y'all no more. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get out there when I get out there, probably about noontime. I'm gonna get my keys. Corporal Stevens, where's some keys at? Oh, I certainly hope we brought the keys. Friends, I got the keys right here, but I do have a, friends, Friends, I do have a secret key buried behind a headstone out there somewhere, but you'll never guess it, friends. Friends, it's like Indiana Jones in The Last Crusade, or one of these, you know, when he was trying to find the Fountain of Youth. Friends, it ain't gonna be where you think it is, so I'm trying to explain to you. But y'all just go ahead and report out there, friends, and you just get that place nice and cleaned up for all the families and all the perverted things that y'all do. But y'all don't y'all dare even don't y'all go anywhere near a child's grave. If I catch y'all anywhere near any more children, dead or alive. Y'all, friends, I don't know. You're still gonna go down that hole. All right, friends, I gotta go. I'll talk to you later on. And again, for all y'all that are reporting to the hole this morning, I told you I ain't gonna be out there till about noon. So y'all go ahead and start doing a police call at that cemetery. Then y'all just start hydrating. And y'all just wait, because I will be out there, friends. Because I did. We caught y'all. We caught y'all harming the children, and you registered on my online portal to go down the hole, and my good man sees me. What's up, brother? I'm going to get the mo job, because my buddy's over there looking at me now, friends. So I'm going to see y'all over there in about 2 hours. Y'all are going to go down that hole, friends. So y'all better start making sure your last will testament's all good to go. You better make those last final phone calls, and you better beg your friends to stop being perverted, because their time's coming soon, friends. All right, I got to go. Grizzle 6.
I love German man.
Everybody. It's Sergeant Major GRIZZLY. That's right, friends. We're out getting the mo job done in the SEFFNER cemetery. Friends, I told you there's a lot of weird stuff going on out here, friends. I mean, friends, this is a stinking graveyard. There ain't no ghost out here. And I better not catch no more ghost adventures out here, friends. I just better not catch y'all. This is Granny and Papa Cemetery, friends. They're right over there. But friends, I gotta tell you something. I've been mowing since about, 9:30, 10 o'clock this morning, friends. And I've been smelling the John Deere, friends. I've been smelling the grass. Friends, I even thought I smelled like some plastic burning, friends. But friends, you gotta check it out. Over here's, friends, Granny and Papa are buried right over there. That's my grandparents. And my great-grandparents are right over there, friends. We had to dig them out of a tree, friends. It was horrible. I can't believe it. Nobody's been out here. Friends, I told you, it's all my fault. Friends, right around this area right here, friends. Right around this area. Friends, we cleaned it up the other day. I put the weeds. This stuff was all overgrown, friends. But friends, every time I come by this area, I smell perfume. That's right, friends. Friends, the devil's playing tricks on me out here in the cemetery. Friends, it's a beautiful lady's perfume, friends. Friends, unless the lady in the house over there got in a fight with her perfume bottle and lost, friends. Friends, the smell's gone. But for the last, friends. For the last 40 minutes, I've been doing this area over here, friends. This whole area. And right about over here, friends, it hit me, friends. It was strong, too. It was literally like a woman was like laying in my lap or on the tractor with me, friends.
I love German, man.
Friends, I'm getting spiritual goosebumps now. I don't know, friends, it's weird. I had to come on here and let y'all know. I was literally mowing, enjoying my peace and quiet, and then I got hit with this aroma, friends. And I don't recognize this scent. It ain't a loved one. Besides, all my family's in heaven with Jesus. But friends, what could it be? Is it this tree? Friends, I've been out here for almost a month. The first time I've smelled this odor, this fragrance. I don't smell it no more, friends. Is it that tree over there? I don't know. I don't smell it now. But friends, I'm on the tractor, and I smelt it. It was like, whatever it was trying to get my attention, friends. Friends, I ain't gonna be out here much longer. I'm getting a little freaked out. I'm gonna have to start praying hard, friends. I told you, I don't believe in the ghost. But I know, friends, there's a spiritual realm. And friends, and let me explain something, friends. The devil don't like that I'm out here. Friends, the devil thought he got rid of me last year. But we'll be back, friends. Y'all don't go nowhere. Y'all stay groovy now. We'll talk to you soon. We'll figure out what the heck the stink is in my cemetery. I can't have no ghost out here, friends. Y'all know the rules. All right, y'all stay groovy. Oh yeah, oh yeah. What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Sergeant Major Grizzle Grits. That's right, friends. Hold on, I've got a lot of noise in here. Stand by, soldiers. I don't know, friends. Friends, hold on. Look, friends, we had a lot of weather rolling in the Tampa Bay area today. So, friends, I made a command decision. I can't get no mow job done if I got lightning and torrential rain. Friends, I would never put the John Deere through that kind of misery, friends. Friends, that's literally the life that I had to live in the National Guard, friends. We had to go to Camp Blanding. Friends, Camp Blanding's near Stark, Florida. And it has this, well, friends, we all know about weather modification now. They just had like a hurricane, the whole annual training, friends. It was just winds out of nowhere. And then lightning. It's horrible, friends, what this government's done to us. But friends, we had a lot of horrible thunderstorms rolling through. So friends, I ain't gonna go out there and get wet and sit in my truck till it passes, friends. Friends, I think a man yesterday was struck by lightning over there in, I don't know, friends, friends, this lightning strike was meant for this guy. Because it hit the sprinkler system and it traveled underground and it got him, friends. He must have been doing something really naughty. Look, friends, I gotta explain something to you very, very carefully, friends. Friends, I'm not advocating any harm on anybody. Friends, I'm trying to tell y'all a story that was written many, many years ago, friends. Over here. Friends, this is a story out of the book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 6, friends. Go look it up. Go grab your Bibles right now, friends. Friends, the Bible's very clear of the do's and don'ts, especially around children, friends. Friends, I was never harmed by a sex pervert. In fact, the Sergeant Grizzle's character, friends, I have so many people that helped model that character. But my father was one of those men. Friends, he knew the sheriff could only do so much, and my father never murdered nobody, friends. But he dealt with all manner of bullies that were out to get my brother and I, friends. It's a true story. And friends, I can't share some of these stories for obviously security reasons. But look, friends, I'm not advocating any harm on nobody, friends. My sin is my sin, and I deal with it. But I've never harmed a child, friends. I've tried to understand the LGBT. I've had friends that were LGBT. But the Lord revealed to me that whatever's going on with y'all, it's out of y'all's control, because that's a demon that's in you. It's the Jezebel demon. I mean, give me a break, friends. So friends, the lust, the perversions, it knows no bounds. It consumes everything. And friends, it's tricked so many of y'all, and it's come after our children. And friends, again, I had to deal with this at my place of employment in the federal government, the Bay Pines VA. That's right, friends. I don't like to talk about it, friends, because Jesus told me the lawsuit, friends, it could be right now. They probably would want to bury it under the John Bolton. Is he in handcuffs yet, friends? I heard they were going through his stuff at his home this morning. Looking for some things he probably shouldn't have, right? Uh-oh, Corporal Stevens. Oh, we got that loop again. Gotta get that fixed. Look, friends, I'm not advocating any harm on nobody. I just... friends, when I worked at the Bay Pines VA, I had one of these sex demons. The one that the Bible is clearly describing here. A man who was trying to corrupt and perverse two children by showing them gay pornography on his cell phone in the voluntary office over there at Escort, friends. It's all true, friends. You know me by now. But, friends, I was powerless back then, and I wasn't as strong as I am now, friends. Friends, we gotta educate ourselves. We gotta learn about the Bible and the Word. Friends, I'm learning every day. Friends, I'm a human just like the rest of y'all. I'm not trying to act like I'm better than y'all. I'm trying to show y'all that y'all can turn around. Friends, again, I've never harmed children. That's not my thing, friends. Friends, the Lord gave me the most beautiful wife with everything up. Corporal Stevens, a stinking song. Friends, my wife was handpicked by God, so I'm trying to explain to you. That's all y'all need to know. But for some of y'all, that perversion is so perverse, it just knows no bounds, friends. And friends, it's an allegory. It's symbolism. I'm not gonna go find you, Hillsborough County. I'm not gonna go find all your sex perverts that you love. Friends, they had 2 of these sex demons in court lying on me last year, friends. But I'm not, this ain't no threat to none of y'all. Y'all just keep it up. Y'all just keep it up. It says right here, in Matthew chapter 18, verse 6, what's gonna happen to y'all. Y'all better go find someone, go find an emporium around here that imports some nice millstones from Israel. Go pick you one out, because, friends, this is out of my hands. I told you we're in a spiritual battle. But y'all keep being perverted and flipping people off in your front window with your transgender flag. Just keep doing that. Keep perverting your children with all that Disney. I'm trying to warn y'all is what I'm trying to do, friends. And I'm an art guy for the last time. And I had some of my own trauma in my life, friends, but I turned it over to Jesus. But again, friends, I'm learning that there's some things. Friends, I'm speaking on behalf of me now, not the Bible, because I have no authority, friends. Only God has the authority. But friends, it's becoming clear that if you're harming children, the innocent, friends. Well, friends, it says it right here that you'd better go find a millstone and go to the bottom of the sea rather than find out what Jesus is going to do to you, friends. So, friends, the SEFFNER cemetery, friends, that's my family cemetery. I mean, no disrespect to anybody out there, please. Y'all want to know what's in that shack just as much as I do. I'm just trying to be creative and a little artsy about it. I'm trying to teach y'all and warn y'all. Friends, I'm doing like 10 things at once here. And I'm also getting that place squared away and cleaned up, friends. There's a man that's hired to do it, and he's doing the best job he can. But he's another godly family man. He needs a little help out there. I'm his helper, friends. I'm getting the place clean. I don't know, friends. I don't know what else to say. I'm reading it right here in the Bible. Again, friends, it's I gotta get my cheaters. Oh, Corporal Stevens, I can't even read the Bible anymore. Matthew, chapter 18, verse 6. I believe it's verse 6. Friends, it never set good with me. Friends, I had to work with these people. These people are in my lawsuit. Friends, I got fired because... Oh, friends. Corporal Stevens, where's my termination letter from that horrible LGBT lover, Miss Chanel Kelly? Friends, the lady, one of the charges, she charged me of disrespecting the pride flag. I told you, friends, God handpicked me as a child. That's why an angel appeared to me in my bedroom, friends. It's all true. I've never been afraid of y'all. I've had nothing but understanding and empathy. But again, friends, we're dealing with narcissists here. I don't know what to say, friends. It's a little gloomy day, and friends, I had a spirit. I had an unclean spirit get on the John Deere tractor yesterday, friends. Friends, I don't know. If I gotta start carrying my Bible on the John Deere, I will do that. Because I cannot be interrupted when I'm getting the moat job done. Not even from a perverted Jezebel unclean spirit that these perverted ghost adventure folks stirred up out in the cemetery. I don't know, friends. Friends, I just feel like there ain't no more honor left in our country. Everybody's all about themselves and getting tricked. Corporal Stevens, come on. Come on, Corporal Stevens. What's up with the song? Okay. Look, friends, again, we had weather rolling in, and I made the command decision. Oh, hold on. The song, Corporal Stevens. Oh, here we go, friends. Friends, when I was in the capacity of your assistant chief of the voluntary service at the Bay Pines VA, friends, I created the lightning battle drill. That was in the SOP when I left, but I'm sure it hadn't been looked at because Chanel Kelly wasn't doing no volunteering service, friends. Friends, she had the door locked the one day we infiltrated the base, the campus, friends. They want to treat it like a base. That's why they put up those gate fences a couple years ago. Oh, the devil told them y'all better put them up. Because y'all's reign's coming to an end. Friends, what's up with John Bolton? Did he get arrested yet, friends? I need an update. Friends, again, last year, I was trying to warn y'all that all these things were coming down the pipeline, friends. It's inevitable. You can't go after a guy like me and an equally guy like Mr. Trump and not have the Lord. Friends, I told y'all gotta stop following the devil. Now look, friends, I don't worship Trump. He's a man. He's full of sin, too. I don't know, friends. I think something changed when that bullet hit his ear, friends. I know a lot of y'all think that. All right, look, friends, we're gonna log it off. I got a project that I was saving for a rainy day. Here we go, friends. Oh, before we dismiss y'all, Corporal Stevens, where's my Green Leaders book? I got some notes, friends. Okay, oh, that's church notes. Where is my other notes? All right, look, friends. I told y'all watch all my videos. And I was critiquing the one with the spirit playing games with me, friends. Friends, I was looking in the background, and there's a palm tree. And we got to get the leaves trimmed up. Oh, my goodness. Where the heck are the notes? Did I read them? It had to be in this book. Friends, the notes are in my head. I don't need this thing. Look, friends. We're going to get those palm trees. They're going to get trimmed up, friends. That way, when you look across the cemetery, I want to be able to see from one end to the other. Where there's trees. So we're going to get those. There's like 2 or 3. Get them cleaned up, friends. And then the southwest corner, there's a family plot that we gotta excavate. We got all manners of trees and growth. Friends, we don't even know who's out there, friends. And friends, I need to get some flags on every single veteran's grave out there, friends. Friends, we got a lot. We got like 200. Where in the world did my notes go? Friends, there's also a big tree out there. We gotta start getting some quotes. Now, friends, I don't need it hauled to the road. It's gotta get out of there. Y'all gotta haul it to the dump. So I know it's gonna be at least, I don't know, friends. That's gonna be a lot of money. It's a big tree. Oh, that's notes from church on Sunday. It was a good service, friends. So you didn't check it out. Friends, also, I want to invest in a doggy sign with a little says, please clean up after your pet. And friends, I want to do it right. I want the little doggy bags and I want a little doggy bin. Friends, that way there ain't no excuse if you're out there with your dog. Friends, we encourage that. It's a nice cemetery. But I can't allow you to let your doggy do his business next to Granny's and Papa's grave, friends. That just wouldn't sit right with me, not one bit. Friends, I'm trying to teach y'all about responsibility. I know a lot of y'all used to know what that term meant because it had consequences. We're bringing that back, friends. Oh yeah, here's my notes. I told you, friends, I gotta get some cheaters. Friends, I couldn't complete the mow job today because of the weather that rolled in. But look, friends, we're gonna go out there tomorrow morning. Friends, I might be at the Bell Shoals Baptist Church tomorrow. They're doing a little breakfast for all the most righteous fathers. The dad's breakfast, friends. Hey, can we scrounge up a $5 bill out of the... Oh, we're broke. Okay. All right, we'll figure something out, friends. It's $5 at the church tomorrow. If you want to go down there and have a little breakfast, friends, I'm going to try to make it. Excuse me, friends. But look, we're going to go to the cemetery and get the mow job done. Friends, we're almost done out there. But then, friends, I want to get some of the friends, a lot of the veterans, they got the headstones that are on the ground, friends. And friends, the grass and the dirt and just time has taken over many. There's like 10 of them that we got to... Friends, I want to level them up to make it all nice and level. Now, here's the big one, friends. Now, we're going to have to get with the owner. So, look, sir or ma'am, whoever owns that cemetery, I need you to get a hold of me. You might have been calling me earlier, I don't know. But we want to get permission to put a flagpole in the front of your cemetery there. Well, it's our cemetery. You just own the land, but all our families are there. We paid the county. Everybody's got a deed for that little tiny plot. Oh, this stinking song, Corporal Stevens. Friends, again, there's like 100 to 200 veterans buried out there. From literally the Spanish-American War up to Vietnam, friends. Friends, we want to get a flagpole. Not a big one. Nothing obnoxious. I want like a 25-foot, 30-foot, maybe at the most. That we might have to work with the county, because I know there's some power lines. I don't want no trouble. But I want a flagpole in the front with a nice American flag, a 3x5 that look nice. And then we're going to have the POW flag underneath it, friends. I don't think we're going to have any room for the Florida. I don't know, friends. That's why we need to get a hold of the Veterans Council. But look, friends, we're going to have a flag, and at the bottom, this is going to be in the front of the cemetery, friends, in the center. I think there's a spot, friends. But, friends, we're not going to stop there. We're going to put like a 4-foot thing of concrete around it, a 4x4 by a foot. That way the weeds won't grow up the flagpole. If something happens to me and none of y'all don't complete your training. But look, friends, here's the most profound part. I'm going to get a bunch of plaques made, nice bronze ones. It's going to have all the branches, friends, all the military service branches. Bing, 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 bing. And then, friends, I want something that says, like, all the wars that the soldiers that are out there. Because, friends, this is their cemetery. I don't know, friends. If one of y'all steps up and wants to take on this project and produce the financial contributions, I don't know, friends, maybe we'll get a little plaque for you. I mean, a little tiny plaque, friends, because we're not supposed to take credit for this stuff. I'm talking like a little plaque like this big, friends. Like something like that big, like literally that big. I'll just say something like, donated by whoever. I don't know, friends, we've got a lot of good plans. See, friends, I wasn't supposed to be in the government, friends. I mean, I was, but I wasn't. That wasn't where my career was gonna lead me, friends. So again, friends, one door shuts and many, many, many open. That's what I'm trying to teach y'all. You just gotta go with the flow. You gotta, ooh, there we go. Now I can hear myself. Friends, you gotta let God be in charge. Trust me, friends, he hasn't steered me wrong. But it's me, friends. I don't have the patience, and I'm learning. Friends, again, the lawsuit should have been done last month. And my lawyer said, well, sometimes it's like, it's the gray area. They know they got 180 days. But sometimes this is extreme one, friends. It goes on for like a month or two while they're in their panic mode. I don't know, friends. Friends, any one of y'all could have had a lawsuit if you just listened to me last year. I don't know, friends. Just let it be a lesson learned. Just do if you ever get that opportunity ever again, friends. It ain't gonna happen for me, friends. I told you, my days in the government, I don't know, friends. I told you I'm gonna be running for a local congressional seat here in a couple years. I'd vote for me, friends. I'm honest, I'm trustworthy, I'm funny, and I'm trying to be godly. And I don't put up with no harm with them children, friends. You better stop doing that harm, friends. Alright, look, friends, I'm gonna scram. Oh, friends, I forgot to tell you the most important thing. I don't know, friends, we'll just leave it as a surprise. But look, friends, I told you we're getting that place all nice and squared away. No charge, no charge. We're a charity organization. And it's the community's responsibility, friends. Friends, if you go on Google, friends, you can find photos of that cemetery a long time ago. And friends, it clearly says that it's maintained by the volunteers only. I told you, friends, we got a real problem with our generation. Y'all just want it to be all about you. You don't want to think about your community or the people that came before us, before all of us, that helped build this community that we all enjoy now. I just don't know if I can help y'all, friends. I don't know, friends. Y'all just go ahead. Just go ahead and stay perverted. Just stay curly. It ain't gonna bother me none, friends. I mean, friends, y'all can't go where we're going. I hate to tell you. If you're not gonna change your perverted ways and you're just gonna keep harming children and doing all that evil, friends, friends, I will keep praying for you because the Lord is mysterious, and that's what I'm supposed to do as a Christian. I don't know, friends. I think I'm gonna put my energy elsewhere. But I know y'all don't believe me. Oh, Corporal Stevens, where's that shack key at? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Friends, what's that right there? Oh, wait, that's the Bellevue. Hold on, friends. Friends, I got a few more keys added. Okay, it's the bunker key. Oh, yeah. The lock on the John Deere. Oh, the fire base. Couldn't forget that. Oh, I don't even remember what shack that goes to. Oh, well. Oh, look, friends. It's my granddad's dog tags from World War II. I told you. I come from an honorable family lineage. Oh, friends. Oh, friends, look what Mom got me back in 1994. I still got it, Mom. Oh, I definitely still got it. Oh, yeah, friends. Corporal Stevens, this is serious. Turn that music off immediately. That's the key, friends. You don't want me to unlock that door, friends. I'm not even allowed to look in there. Friends, Sergeant Grizzlegrits' job is the facilitator of the whole. I'm not going out looking for nobody. Oh, Corporal Stevens, put that music back on. Friends, that's not my job. Again, this is an act, but it's spiritual, friends. But friends, we do have the new online portal. So if you're harming a child or you know someone that is, friends, you can, well, they can't do it anonymously. We gotta know who you are, friends. Just head over to GRIZZLYARMY.com, friends. It's right here. Just follow the links, self-report. It's kind of like a self-help, friends. We're gonna help you right down to hell where you belong. You're gonna continue to harm the children. Friends, I got some openings. I need some operators. I need some schedulers, friends. Friends, I never knew the online portal was gonna be such a hit, friends. I mean, friends, I can't get any of y'all to watch my YouTube or any of my social media. But the second I go live on my self-report for the child harm, I mean, friends, y'all just want to call, friends. I mean, hold on, let me look at the schedule today. Friends, I told you we're booked up. But look, friends, I ain't gonna let you go down the hole if we got bad weather rolling in. I'm humble NCO. I do not want your friends. You're going down the hole. You're not gonna take the easy way out by getting struck by lightning. Oh, Corporal Stevens. Shucks. Friends, I gotta go. I gotta reschedule all these people. I mean, they're out there right now waiting on me, and I didn't call them. Oh, that's who was calling me earlier, friends. Hold on. Friends, I can't tell you who it is. It's we gotta hit the laws. Because, friends, their insurance does get charged. Well, friends, we gotta tow the vehicles away. I mean, when you go down the hole, friends, you don't ever come back. You're spiritually going to hell for all the harm. But, friends, I can't have y'all parking in the cemetery no more. Last night, the tow guy bumped a headstone trying to get one of y'all's perverted little Priuses out of there, friends. Friends, we're gonna come up with a park. You know what? We're gonna come up with a shuttle run. Friends, I used to do this in the voluntary service. So look, friends, we're gonna have you park at the Brandon Mall. And we'll have a shuttle run from there to the cemetery. We'll just do it 24 hours, friends. Friends, I told you, we're gonna do this. It's gonna be, Corporal Stevens, please, get that music back on. Friends, I can't shortchange this. I gotta be out there when we're doing the whole, friends. Friends, that's why God picked me. I told you I'm the facilitator. If I get lazy and girly and sloppy like y'all, just have like a machine do it for me, friends, then God would not have a use for me. Not doing the supervision of the whole, friends. Alright, look, we're gonna have to call y'all back. We just got to reschedule y'all. But I told you, we're booked up. Friends, we'll get back to y'all. Oh, no, we can't, friends. They're actively harming children. Alright, friends, I gotta call Mr. Thompson over at Bellevue. Hold on, everybody. Friends, I told you I got a key to the Bellevue. This is for strict emergencies. And we weren't out to get there today. Hold on. Oh, hold on, friends. I can't let y'all hear what I'm talking about. It's for HIPAA, friends. I tell you, friends, it's good to know a good, honorable Vietnam veteran that has his own cemetery, friends. All right, friends, we're gonna get that shuttle rolling here in a little while. Oh my goodness. Somebody's self-reporting, friends. Grizzly Services, how we may help you? Hello. If you have harmed a child, press 1. Friends, they hung up. They must not be ready. Corporal Stevens, do a trace on that call. Find out who that was and what they're up to. All right, look, friends, we gotta go. We got some things to do. That's right, friends, we're refurbishing the sign. I'm a sign guy for the last time, so we're gonna get that nice SEFFNER cemetery sign all squared away, friends. Friends, I didn't steal it. I'm a volunteer. It's in the garage, friends. I gotta get all that old paint off. We're gonna be doing that here in a little while. I'm gonna sand it down real nice. Friends, when I was a child, I remembered that shack. It was painted white like cinder blocks. And friends, they had the roof. But the wood on the roof, friends, I remember it being like a light blue color, friends. Friends, almost like this color. Friends, it's crazy when Jesus removes the alcohol and all your memories. You can remember everything. Friends, when I pulled that sign off after I was fighting off the wasp, friends, I was greeted with this nice color. It was blue, friends. Friends, this is why we must protect the children. Friends, if we don't stand and protect the children, who will, friends? Children are video recorders. That's why we gotta be slow to anger men and women. Friends, I mean, I'm having the time of my life being a father. But we're battling like the most evil that our world's ever known, friends. So look, friends, I'm gonna go. I got a busy day. I don't know, friends. Y'all better just start doing the right stinking thing. All right, friends, I'm gonna get on out of here. So y'all stay groovy, and we'll see you out in the field somewhere. GRIZZLY 6 out.